I'm Grace.
So let's get started.
I'm a recipe blogger, family-taught home chef,
Cheers.
Cheers.
iPhone-only photographer, and proud New Englander. Roasty, toasty acorn squash stuffed with Italian sausage, crispy pancetta, melted Gruyère, and sage. It's a fall-time masterpiece. Acorn squash are the perfect little fall bowls. When you take out the seeds, you can fill them with all different types of fall ingredients and roasty toasty them up in the oven, and they're just sweet and delicious and perfect. So, starts off with whole acorn squash, which I managed to slice in half. It took some muscle, which I don't have, and I kind of failed because one is way bigger than the other. But do your best to cut them in half equally. And then you scoop out the seeds. Just take a spoon and carve it out like a pumpkin. My husband wanted me to hold these up and say, look at these clean little squash. I have an oiled baking sheet, and I'm gonna place my squash right on the sheet. And then you need a little more oil, a little olive oil, drizzle, drizzle on each one. Doesn't need to be even because we're then going to take our hands, or you can use, I don't know, a basting brush if you want to, and you just wanna make sure that the entire squash, that flesh, is covered in a thin layer of olive oil. A little bit of salt on there, and of course you know what's next, pepper. And then we're going to flip them over and place them cut side down on the baking sheet, and that way they get extra nice and toasty and golden brown on that cut side. We're gonna place this in the oven for 30 minutes at 400 degrees, and we're gonna make the stuffing. Alrighty guys, we're at the stove now and we're making the sausage filling. And I love adding a little bit of pancetta that we crisp up in a pan to that sausage filling. It just adds that little salty, meaty bite to your filling. So we're just gonna cook off the pancetta until it's nice and crispy. It's only been a couple minutes, and look, we have some nice crispy pancetta. We're just gonna use a slotted spoon and drain off that fat and put the pancetta in a big bowl. Next step, sausage. Use your favorite sausage. This is spicy sausage, Italian sausage. And I'm just going to cut open the casing, just like that, and pop the meat out into your pan. And there's no like real neat way of doing this. You just kind of gotta work with it. That was not a great way of showing it, but you get the point. That was pretty messy. I drained the pancetta juices out of the pan, and now I'm just gonna cook off the sausage and crumble it as I go, cooking it in its own juices. You don't need to add any oil or anything. It's looking perfect. Cooked through, crumbled. We're gonna scoop all that delicious sausage into our bowl with our pancetta. We drained any fat off again in our pan, and we're gonna add this time a little bit of olive oil. And I have some minced garlic and my favorite addition, leeks. And we're gonna saute these guys for just 4 to 5 minutes. It's time to assemble. Everything's ready. Our squash is roasted. We have our stuffing almost ready to go. We're just gonna add a few more ingredients. First, Gruyère cheese, which I love. It gets nice and melty. It's basically a mild Swiss cheese. And sage, because this is a fall dish and we're making squash. So I'm just going to pinch off some beautiful sage leaves and chop them up. Salt, pepper, toss it up. I can smell it from here. Boy, does that smell good. Time to flip them. Flip over your squash. Ooh, they're so pretty and toasty and delish. And hot. Ow. The messy part begins, so roll your sleeves up if you have any. And you're going to generously stuff these babies. I like to do 1 scoop in each and then keep going back around just to make sure each one gets enough stuffing. We're almost there. 15 more minutes in the oven at 400 degrees, and the tops will get nice and toasty. I keep saying toasty, but it's true. And the cheese will melt. The pancetta in this is everything. And the little bits of sage just make it so fall-y, if that's a word. Sweet squash. Check this out on tastefullygrace.com. You won't regret it. Kind of smells good. Oh, hello everyone. I was smelling it.